talk about bash history for a second. So we talked about the things that you type in go into your bash history. That's what up and down is using. That's what the reverse search is using. But just so you know where your bash history is, if I hit tail and then tilde dash bash underscore history, like that, this is going to show me the last things that I ran. That's what tail does. Tail just outputs the last 10 lines from a file. And your bash history will have everything you've ever run. But I just want to let you know where that is. So if you go in and you delete your bash history, it'll delete all of your history. So that's a good thing to do if you've put a password in there or something like that. You can actually just go in and edit it directly and delete the passwords and stuff like that. We'll talk more about tail later, but that's where it is, in case you're wondering. It's in your, in fact, where am I right now? I'm in my home directory. So if I just hit ls-a, you can see one of those is bash history right there. Another thing to keep in mind is your bash history is not written out to on the fly every single time. It actually buffers all of your commands in your current session, and then as soon as I log out, it'll write all that stuff to bash history. So it's not always writing to it. You have to log out for it to write to your bash history. Cool. Let's talk about another one. So if I do ls-a, right, or let's do this again, ls-a. Let's say I wanted for whatever reason to run it again. You can actually put exclamation point, and it's actually going to do the exact same command that you did last time. You'll often hear people call this bang bang. I don't know why computer scientists choose to call exclamation points bang, but they do. So for good or for worse, that's what I'm going to call it too. It's probably good for you to get used to hearing it. Now, why is this useful? In this particular case, this isn't useful. I could have typed ls-a, or I could have hit up enter. However, you can actually insert that into another command. So the reason why I use bang bang all the time is, let's say I do something and I needed to do sudo, which I'll talk about sudo in a bit. You can do sudo bang bang, and it'll actually rerun the last command with sudo. And again, we'll talk about sudo in a bit, but that's when I use bang bang. That just works in bash. I don't even think that even works in ZSH. So be aware of that. So if you're on Mac, that might not work. Oh yeah. So I actually went and found out why they called it bang. And it turns out in the 1950s, secretarial dictation typesetting manuals in American refer to the mark as bang. And they refer to it as bang from comic books, right? Because it was like an exclamation point, right? And I didn't know that. So comic books are the reason why you call exclamation points bang in computer science. So there's your dumb fact for the day. Well, actually, probably not for the day. I probably have a lot more dumb facts to tell you, so buckle up. Okay. Clear, you've probably seen me type that a billion times by now, but that just clears your screen. But again, it's still up here if you scroll up. I think you can also do, so if I do like Control L, that'll also do. So if you hit Control and L, it also does clear. I never remember that, but I can always remember clear, so I run clear all the time. And last thing here, copy and paste on the command line. So if I come in here and say something like this and I want to copy it, obviously you can highlight all of that and I hit Command C and then Command V. Like that all works on Macs, but I do want to call out on Windows. Copy and paste on Windows is Control C, right? And so Control C means something totally different on the terminal. So the normal way that you would copy and paste doesn't work. So you actually have to do Control Shift C and Control Shift V. And that's to disambiguate it from what Control C and Control V mean, which is something totally different in the terminal. In fact, it's literally the next thing we're going to talk about, which is how to send signals. But just be aware, if you're on Windows, to do copy and paste, you have to do Control Shift C and Control Shift V. But if you're on Mac, Command C and Command V work just as normal. Now, I say all that, be extremely careful what you copy and paste into your command line. Your command line can cause a lot of damage if you're not careful. Like, particularly if you're copying things off of the internet, you can copy and paste things that you don't necessarily want to happen, like send all of my passwords to someone that's going to mine Bitcoin on my computer, right? So you need to be really careful what you copy and paste. Actually, it's to the point where a website can detect that you're copying something off of it, and they can swap what they're putting into your palette, right? And that's really easy to do with JavaScript. So if you're copying off of a website, make sure it's a website that you trust, like GitHub or Stack Overflow or something like that. But if you're copying off of someone's blog, don't directly paste it into your terminal. Paste it into like VS Code. Make sure that it's good, and then copy and paste it again from VS Code into your command line. And that'll just save you some problems. This has actually happened to me before, where an attacker has like put bad stuff into my clipboard. So just be really, really careful with that. It's actually even possible to put a return character so that you can copy and paste something, and it'll paste it, and it won't even give you an opportunity to read it. It'll immediately run it because they put the return character at the end. So it's pretty sophisticated. Most emulators, like I know, for example, terminal.app and iTerm will say like, hey, there's a return character at the end of this. Are you sure you wanted to run this? It'll ask you, but not all of them will. So all that to say, be extremely careful what you copy and paste into your terminal. It can be catastrophic what you put in there. And then the last thing, just as a word of advice, like when you're in copying and pasting things, I think I say this in my intro to web dev course as well. Figure out what you're copying and pasting, right? Like if you're copying like a super long command that does a ton of crazy stuff for you, it's worth your time to pull apart the command to figure out what it does, because obviously it was useful to you in some capacity, or else you wouldn't be copying and pasting it. It's a good opportunity for you to go figure out what's useful about it, right? Just in general, like it's fine to copy and paste things, just figure out what you're copying and pasting.